everyone. I want to welcome you to our event, the Rare DIEM Virtual Summit that we're holding 2025. My name is Jenny Paredes. I'm a strategic lead, but also a trainer for Farmacon Global at Farmacon Academy. So I'm here to speak to you a little bit about the training opportunities we have here at Farmacon Academy, because we're always looking for experienced teams when it comes to clinical research. So there's a need in clinical environment to always have that team member trained in clinical research. This is something that our regulatory agencies worldwide actually request. They request that our team members, of course, have the educational title or a doctor or a nurse, whatever your role is in that given trial, that you have that education and background. And they also ask that you have experience in clinical research. Most of the times we think that is completing a GCP training and we get a GCP certificate and, oh, we're now trained for clinical research. But it goes more beyond what that certificate actually means. We need experience, and we can only get that through training. So here at Farmacon Academy, we train different team members, investigators, sub-investigators that want to become investigators, study coordinators or study clinical research coordinators that want to become CRAs that want to grow in this environment, because clinical research has a lot of growth. And that's what we do. We're actually here to bridge the gap between education and experience. We have trained at a sponsor level, meaning that sponsors will come to us to train their sites, the sites that they want to actually use in clinical trials. So we get contracted through the sponsor or individually through our Farmacon Academy program so that we can prepare you for the next step to actually be able to carry out clinical research at your site, or if you're already working in clinical research, actually broaden your education in that sense. So we want to know, we're opening the doors now to new generations of investigators. So little storytelling. You know that when COVID hit, a lot of our clinical research studies came to a halt. Basically, what sponsors did back then is we had to create platforms and procedures to guarantee patient safety. And that's what we did. We actually created an environment where everything became remote. And on a patient side, everything became patient-centric. We were patient-focused. Why? Because patients weren't able to come into the clinics, but we could not stop the research process going on. So we focused on safety. With that said, two things happened. A lot of our key opinion leaders and really good investigators, some of them actually passed away because of COVID. A lot of our medical doctors worldwide were treating patients that had COVID. So they also got sick and some of them passed away. So that means we now need to train investigators to that level. And we're now in need of investigators. On the other end, which is the second thing that we're now living, we have a lot of investigators now that work in our studies, but that they're very, I want to say, convoluted. They have so many studies, they can no longer add on one more study. So we now need to create a new generation of investigators who can actually carry on more studies, because we're now reaching the limit. That's also happening at an ethics committee level as well in certain countries. But for us, it's important to keep training professionals as investigators, study coordinators, and as clinical research professionals. So we need to know what your study training needs are. Our training programs are directed to physicians who lack knowledge in clinical research, sub-investigators who want to become principal investigators, clinical research coordinators who want to become CRAs, and we also have a course that is directed to audit readiness preparedness course for all site levels. And we also have a regulatory requirement course that we create for every country. Every country in Latin America is very particular. We are the same in certain criterias, but in some requirements we are not. So what we need are expert people that know the requirement. Your companies, your sites also need to know what these are. So for example, I am Mexico based. In the last 2 years, our regulatory agency, COFEPRIS, has made big changes. We automated through a system. We had to learn how to navigate the system. And in the last 6 months, they've been updating regulatory requirements that actually help when it comes to bringing clinical trials approved quicker. It helps us in that sense, but we need the experts that actually know what these requirements are. So COFEPRIS has made these changes so quickly that it's hard to keep up. Well, we have a specialized training program that lets you know what those requirements are. And I'll give you guys an example. The last 3 studies I have participated in submitting to COFEPRIS, our legislation says that COFEPRIS has 90 to 120 days to turn around the approval. The 3 last studies that we've submitted to COFEPRIS have been approved within 52 days. Yes, there might be some RFIs, which is request for information, and even with that, we're coming in below the 60-day mark. That only says that our regulatory requirements, what we know, how we do it, makes us a little bit more ahead of the game from other companies that actually do the same. But our trend this year in 2025 is actually triggering our approvals less than 60 days. That means that we're doing something different and we're doing something right. That's what these regulatory requirement courses are for. So at a site level, you also need to know what those requirements are because there are various letters that come from the site level that need to be submitted to our regulatory agencies. At least that is the case here in Mexico. It is the case in other Latin America countries. So if you're interested in taking one of these courses or knowing more, please reach out. We're always here to connect, to provide guidance, and to help you in your journey in the clinical research. Like I said, I have 27 years of clinical research experience. I am here to help you with whatever it is you need. And again, I hope you're enjoying our Rare DIEM Virtual Summit because it is for you. It's for all of us that work in this Rare DIEM clinical research environment. So thanks so much for hearing me out. Have a great day.